We didn't mean to do that. We didn't mean to have this playing.
Oh man, bear with us.
Bear with us. We didn't mean to do that.
It's been a rough close game. But 24-17 is the final. Michigan finds a way and defeats Michigan State. Sam, it wasn't a pretty win, but a win's a win, right? They held on there in the fourth quarter. Let's go through the end of the game there and your thoughts on this victory for the Wolverines.
Yeah, so a couple of things. First of all, we didn't mean to have the recruiting insider playing at the beginning. Been spotty Wi-Fi here. If it's spotty with the play, apologies, okay? But Michigan got to win. That's number one, right?
Number one.
No matter how you come by a win, especially over Sparty, it's always good. And Michigan needed this in the worst way, Josh.
Needed Paul to stay home.
Look, they 2 straight losses, felt like they hadn't scored a touchdown in forever. And they were struggling out of the gate offensively. And the defense kept them in this game. And it was a struggle out the gate because Michigan State held the ball for 8 minutes out the gate and pushed them down the field. And so when you consider that they really bent some more out the gate and held at the goal line essentially, and were fortunate to escape with Michigan State missing a field goal kicker who was 15 for 16 at that point. This was a team that really, I think, when you consider a defense that had needed to fix some things coming out of the bye and found some resiliency without Will Johnson, by the way, held their team in it. Boy, this was a meaningful response, even if they had some hiccups. This is a team that could breathe a sigh of relief, even if they still had some big hiccups in the game.
Yeah, I think if you're Michigan State, you're sort of looking at yourself. You're down 9-7 at the half. Like you mentioned, Sam, that opening drive, they go down there. Decisions, right? Michigan State decides to go for the field goal instead of going for it to set the tone there in that opening drive. They could have easily tried to go for that touchdown there when they're 4th and goal. They missed the field goal, no points. Now, State does score on the following drive, right? You're thinking, oh, boy, they already got like 160 total yards. Michigan's defense, like you said, locked in and got that key turnover at the end of the half. And next thing you know, they're up 9-7 at the half. Really held them in check until about the fourth quarter where State started to do some things offensively. But you really got to tip your hat. Michigan's defense held them in this game throughout the whole game.
Yeah, so I got to start out there because I felt like, again, the defense propped up the whole team. They didn't really get much help from the offense or special teams for a good portion of the first half of the game. I mean, the punt game has kind of let them down. Even when they did score a touchdown, they missed the PAT. So it was really on the defense. And like I said, you even when they got pushed around to start the game, they bowled up at the goal line and held firm. At the end of the half, Josiah Stewart comes around the corner, sacks the quarterback. Big Kenneth Grant, who I call, hey, that's my guy, KG. Shout out to KG, grown ass man, KG. So you want KG, he comes up and he has a scoop and score opportunity.
Yes.
Now it's 12 seconds left on the clock. Let's set the scene. It's 12 seconds left on the clock. Now KG is a good athlete. Now KG can pick up the ball and he has a scoop and score opportunity.
Yes, he does.
Now, can he make it in the 12 seconds? And you can see the clock is ticking in KG's head, right? And he's like, I can make it to the end zone in 12 seconds. Now, can this man catch me though? And if I don't make it, the clock might run out. I might not make it, Josh. And then we leave some time and then we miss a scoring opportunity. And remember what happened in that USC game.
He didn't want that to happen.
Didn't want that to happen again. I mean, he had a scoop opportunity and they just snatched the ball out of his arms and they got the ball back. Yeah. So what does he do? He jumps on the ball. He just jumps on the ball and you get a scoring opportunity and they go into the break.
9-7.
Up 9-7. There you go, big fella, right? They go into the half leading the game that, frankly, based on the stats, They have no business leading this game,
Yeah,
Josh.
I mean, if you listen to, when Al and Sam do their coaches take the breakdowns, offensive breakdowns, what does they always talk about? Time of possession, rushing the football. In this game, that always seems to matter. It didn't matter today. Somehow they beat the odds, they beat the stats. But they talked about this in the post game. They talked about the last 4 minutes and the first 4 minutes of the half, right? What did Michigan do? They scored They scored in those 3 consecutive possessions. They got the touchdown, they got the field goal, and then they came out and they got the touchdown to start the second half. Let's talk about that. That was sort of a key moment where you saw some good movement in the play calling. They were moving the ball, they were running the ball, they were throwing the ball, they were getting first downs, consecutive first downs on the drives. You were seeing an offense, something that actually it resembled an offense. I know, and sometimes it gets stagnant, right? And they had moments like that today. But they looked like okay, we have something here, and they were able to do some things positively on the football field.
Yeah, in a low possession, low scoring game.
Yeah,
that's big. Yeah, that's big. I mean, you wonder if you're Jonathan Smith, you had that back. I mean, you play more conservatively than he played in that moment. Maybe he does have that back. So look, it was a rough day for 3rd and long. They didn't tackle well. They leaked too many yards. It wasn't a perfect day by any stretch of the imagination for the defense. But on a day where the offense didn't do a whole lot for long stretches of the game, where there were instances where, that 8-minute drive and then the offense goes 3 and out and puts them right back on the field. Or late in the game where, hey, you know what? Offense, we need you late in the game. You need opportunity. Michigan State just scores to get within a touchdown. You need to answer. And then they go 3 and out. You get 1 yard. It's a 1:38 drive.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a 1:38 drive and it's 3 and out.
Yes.
It's you run twice and you throw a pass. I mean, if you're going to run on this drive, why not just play Alex Orji on that drive, right?
Well, that's funny you say that because what they do the next
drive, Alex Orji's in there.
He put the game away. And
he put the game away.
He averaged 10 yards a carry today. You got to tip your hat to his effort.
Yeah, and so, this is, what did we say? I always qualify these post games by making it very clear. Hey, man, I'm not a coach. I've never coached. I've never called plays. I don't pretend to be a play caller. Don't pretend. But when we were on this last week, I said, listen, man, they got to rewind the tape based on what we saw last week. Yeah, they're going to have to go back to Davis Warren and Alex and some mixture therein where Davis is a better passer. He's a better passer than Jack Tuttle. This the nature of their turnovers with Davis it's a matter of Davis trying to do too much. His turnovers were most of them. Where there are some times where, hey, maybe he didn't see a coverage sometimes like that. Yeah, but it was mostly him trying to, maybe force some things.
Right.
But not the kind of turnovers that we saw from Jack Tuttle. Right. But what's the issue? Well, defenses, when they play him, they play to run different. They don't respect the quarterback when they play him. And the line can't block the run well enough when he's in the game to account for them not respecting the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So the run gets shut down. What do we see?
The run got shut down.
What do we see? So this is why you still got to play Alex, because when the line not being able to block a loaded box, which we saw, now you put Alex in the game and they got to account for a quarterback. So you call a quarterback run, like on that quarterback pin and pull. So what did happen? They get inside the 5. They load now. They're loaded for bear to stop the court to stop. But you call a +1 run. You got an extra blocker. They call a quarterback pin and pull. They account for the extra blocker. We got that guy blocked. Quarterback pin and pull, touchdown. Yeah. Right? It was working today. To me, the challenge for them is going to be, how do you find an effective mix of the two quarterbacks? It was, they were able to pick their spots. There were times where Davis was really effective. There were times where Alex was really effective. How do you mix that well enough to where it's coherent, right? Because you saw where sometimes they look really good with one guy, sometimes they look really good with the other guy. Other times it was like, I don't know. Like, to me, there were the times where you saw Alex try to do too much. There were 2 third downs that were really emblematic of what I'm talking about. The third down, the first third down of the day. And everyone was talking about it on social media. They said, did you see Colston Loveland running wide open across the field, right? He left the protection. He had good protection and he left the pocket too early, right?
Right.
I mean, you got good protection and he leaves too early and he didn't see Colston running across the field. But did you see the third down later? He converted when he hit Samaj. He did the same thing. He left the protection too early, but he found Samaj and he converted.
Yeah.
But he did the same thing. He left protection too early. And he happened to find Samaj and converted. But it was just doing too much. This is going to be the challenge for them with Davis. If you can calm him down, get him to trust the protection.
Yeah.
And see those openings in those times, to just trust it. Don't try to do too much and hit what's there. Take what's there. If you can do that more consistently, they're going to be fine. And then trust those spots with get Alex in there, capitalize on those runs, and you got to be able to trust as a play caller enough where he can throw it a little bit enough to be able to mix him.
I wanted to see at least one throw in there tonight. It's gonna. I think this is definitely the right formula. Like you said, it's gonna be Davis. It's gonna be Alex. How they sort of work it, and they have to throw in some play action. I think eventually that's Michigan's always been such a great play action team. They're gonna have to figure out a way how to trickle that into their offense, and I think we're gonna see it. They're gonna throw everything they can at Oregon next week. But before we, I do want to get your thoughts. A lot, obviously they came in this game with 2 straight losses. The morale was down, right? We could call a spade, right? The morale was down. This was a state championship. That's what Jim Harbaugh always said. That's what Coach Moore said. It's a state championship. This is about as must win in this contest as that you're ever going to see. Especially like generally Michigan comes into this game and based on their history, right? They're generally like the higher ranked team. They have more to play for. Both these teams are 4-3. This is their Super Bowl, right? This is it. What did you think of just the overall, coming in and getting this win? Michigan just earning this win today and just walking out here with a victory.
This was huge, man. I mean, look, this gives you, if you lose it, I mean, I think the odds where you start to get guys checking out go up. Go way up. And so this salvages something to play for a lot of guys on the team, right? It gives you a chance when you go to practice this week for guys to feel like they have a chance. Like if you lose this game, I don't think you go to practice this week with guys feeling like they have a chance. Regardless of what people in the chat might think, they might not think they have a chance in this game.
Sure.
And granted,
I'm not going to argue with them.
I get it, because look, they haven't scored 30 points in the game. I mean, we've been talking about it. Why are we talking? They went out and they won this game, and you got to seize upon the positives. The positive is they what is it, 4 or 5 drives? They had a sequence in this game where 4 or 5 drives they scored.
Yes, they've done that all year.
Yeah, that's a positive,
right? And they had scored 3 in a row, right?
So. Right, and there was a stretch. And Davis, his stats I think were 13 and 19. I think it was.
Yep.
So efficiency was up. Didn't turn the ball over, and then Alex running the football looked good, right? But they got to figure out a better mix to have any hope. They got to figure out a better mix than they had today, because you're not winning next week if you don't score. You got to score 30 points as an offense.
Yeah,
you got to score 30. to have a chance against Oregon, you got to score 30 points.
Yep.
And so if you at least,
yep.
And so how do you do that?
Big plays,
you got to
stretch the field,
and so
a defensive score.
right.
They need a lot of things to go.
And so from a play call perspective, while there were stretches where it left a lot to be desired, like that sequence, that second to last sequence where you run those 2 times and then you throw it on that. Like if that's what you're gonna do, then put Alex in the game, right? Which they did on the next drive. Mm-hmm. That's one of those times where you're like that you can armchair that,
right?
The people sitting at home can have a legit criticism of that drive.
Absolutely, as they should.
Right. That's one where the fans.
It's a head scratcher.
Yeah, that's one where the fans have a legitimate right, where you can't say you don't know what you're talking about. Fans sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
Fans sitting on the couch knows what he's talking about at that point, right? But as you move forward and you start to say, what can we do with Alex and Davis, and drawing from what we did today, you gotta like what I'm talking about the fans, and you say, what positive can you say these guys did? What they put in some tempo today. That was legit. You gotta give them credit for that. The trick plays,
yes,
that was legit. All the stuff that they brought in, that you was like, they need to bring in something, because they weren't doing a whole lot these last few weeks. Is like they don't have a prayer with what they're doing. They were bringing stuff off the scrap heap that they hadn't been doing. You wouldn't have thought that they could do anything tempo wise. You wouldn't have thought they could do anything trick play wise, and they were bringing in trick plays left and right, tempo that you wouldn't think they would have the prayer to do, and those things work to kind of jumpstart some life into the offense. Now, is that sustainable? I mean, we'll see, right? They need some more of that, and then figuring out something coherent. There has to be a coherent mix of these quarterbacks moving forward. Something more than what we saw today, in my opinion.
Well, we're 2/3 through the season. A lot of big games coming up. Oregon, #1 team in the country, will be in the Big House here next week. That's going to wrap up our coverage here from the Big House. For Sam Webb, I'm Josh Newkirk for the Michigan Insider.